Rice pudding is made all over the world in every region that grows rice, and there are many different ways to make this dish. Whether you're making arroz con leche in Spain, mogli in Lebanon, kheer in India, pochaiko in Hong Kong, or British pudding rice, you're guaranteed to find some kind of rice pudding in your local cuisine, and this is just one way of making it. First, we prepare long grain rice by boiling 4 cups of water and adding 2 cups of jasmine rice, then simmering it for a little less than 20 minutes. And then the fun begins.
Hello, everyone, and good morning, and welcome to my kitchen on this Saturday morning as I am in the first stages right now of making breakfast. I've been simmering some rice on the stove top. So that we can have ourselves some rice pudding this morning. Oh yes, off to a decent start here. Hope I didn't scorch it, in fact. Boy, that would be a surprise, actually. I wasn't expecting that, but nonetheless, this rice is definitely done here. This is jasmine rice for starters. And having prepared the rice, we have turned up the heat a little bit, and now we add a couple of extra ingredients. We are now going to add 3 cups of water, or in other words, twice the amount of rice. And then to that, we will also mix in about 3/4 of a cup of sugar and about half a teaspoon of salt. That's probably enough there. And with that, we're now going to spend the next maybe 20 minutes or so just gently stirring this until this thing begins to coalesce into pudding. Yeah, so essentially, we are doing a breakfast risotto because that's really what we're doing here. Constantly stirring the rice until the starch causes it to thicken. Yeah, there are a number of ways to make rice pudding. All of them are kind of laborious, including this. I mean, rice pudding actually is a little more difficult to make than you might think. There's a popular method for making rice pudding that involves baking it in the oven, but even there you have to bake it for at least an hour and a half to 2 hours because it all involves slow cooking it. I stumbled across this method some time ago, and the results were quite good, enough so that I have done this multiple times. Because even though the entire thing probably takes close to an hour from beginning to end, we're already about halfway through that, because at least half of that involved simply making the rice, which means, of course, just bringing water to a boil and then soaking and simmering the rice. This is jasmine rice. I did not wash the rice in advance because I wanted the starch on the rice. After all, as I said, this needs to thicken up into a pudding. And so I am doing so, well, as I said, leaving the starch on the rice so that it will become stickier. On the other hand, I'm reminded of another somewhat more obscure quote, and I'm going to give this little quote here, and if anybody here recognizes this quote, well then, kudos to you. That is, "With the hand of Omega, the Daleks at last shall conquer the galaxy, crush the lesser races, unlimited power, unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc." Anyone who recognizes that quote, as I said, you definitely have a thumbs up from me. As I said, I have the heat up on the stove to about medium or so. And this is a gas top stove. And that's the main reason why I have to keep constantly stirring this. Just like when you're making a roux for gumbo, you have to keep stirring it so that it won't burn. But I do believe it is already starting to thicken up. This isn't taking very long here. And this is doing nicely now. We're still seeing bubbles, but as you can see, this stuff is indeed definitely thickening up. Probably another few minutes or so, we'll be able to add the additional ingredients. But yeah, this slop is becoming nice and thick, all right. We are definitely getting close to the consistency of pudding. We're probably at the point, I think. Yeah, look at this. I'd say we could probably continue at this point. And here's where we race against time, because I have to keep stirring. After all, this thing is still over the heat. 1 cup of heavy cream. Maybe a little bit more sugar. There we go. Keep stirring, just keep stirring. Oh yes, and this is the part where we mix in the eggs as well. Let's mix this egg in quickly before it scrambles, because that's not what we want. But that's one reason why I added the cream first, to lower the temperature, make it less likely to scramble. And now I'm just going to have to, once again, stir it until it thickens. Finally, once again, raisins. Oh, good grief. Come on. Yeah. There. Much better. And now we just keep stirring. We are at almost the last stage. We're just trying to get this all thick again. This, for the record, is a 4-quart Dutch oven, or 4.5 quarts, and I would say this is just the right size for this too. I would say we are likely at the right consistency by now, especially with the way this thing is starting to make its own wonderful noises. I have just turned off the heat. Let's throw in some butter. There we are. A little bit more butter. Vanilla extract. Maybe a teaspoon. And with that, once everything is all mixed down, we'll be ready to serve it. I could just top it with cinnamon here, but I think I would prefer to serve it and then top the individual bowls with cinnamon. So once this butter melts and mixes in, we will be done. Rice bowl, of course. There we go. And I have a friend who I'm going to serve this to, and I know exactly what she's going to say when I serve it to her. She's going to say, "Where's the meat?" So, that's all right. Well, yes, one last thing, as promised, and that would be cinnamon. And there we are. Here is our unlimited rice pudding, as the doctor said to Davros in the classic episode that not many people have seen, Remembrance of the Daleks. Where, as I'll say one last time, that was when Davros had obtained the Hand of Omega, and he was going to use it to increase the power of the Daleks of Skaro until they were equal to the Time Lords of Gallifrey. At which point then he started his monologuing and he said, "With the Hand of Omega, the Daleks shall," and the doctor interrupted and said, "Conquer the galaxy, crush the lesser races, unlimited power, unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc." He was doing it, of course, especially to get Davros so upset and angry that he would foolishly activate the Hand of Omega. And he did. And what he ended up doing was obliterating the entire planet Skaro. That was quite an episode. But nonetheless, there we are. Okay. And this, by the way, was made in a vintage Griswold cast iron Dutch oven. I think I'll show that off one last time. Yeah. Those of you who are cast iron geeks like me will probably recognize the Griswold logo, and that's gotten pretty popular lately. So yes, this rice pudding was made in a Griswold Dutch oven. Only the best. And so there we are. Here is our unlimited rice pudding. And I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said other than time for breakfast. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I can only hope you were entertained. And if you'd like to give this a try, well, again, the recipe is on my website. Thank you again for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoy this. Yeah, check out my TikTok channel and also my YouTube channel. And thank you again. Have yourself a good morning, folks.